Hello, this is Mish, and welcome to The Strain, Season 3, Episode 2, Bad White Review. So warning now, this video will contain spoilers, so if you've not seen the episode, pause this, go and watch the episode, and then come back and have a listen. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to work through the episode, basically in an order of timeline as to major things that have happened. Just work through. There's only about maybe 7 actual major things that have happened in this episode, but we'll work through them from the start. So the introduction was a new location we've not seen before. So it was the Harlem Lab, which is actually owned and I guess run by Eldridge Palmer. So we didn't see him in episode 1. So he's been missing, and you didn't know that in the first scene either, but it was my assumption that it was his lab, and you got confirmation of that later in the episode. So what they're doing there is they're extracting the white from obviously Strigoi that they've captured, and they're testing it on patients that they've actually got from the health centres. So the health centres that Palmer and Eichhorst have set up around the town, they're, I guess, taking the sick people, the really sick ones that can't fight back, putting them into these laboratories and testing them. So yeah, not good. Very interesting starting scene. It's an interesting twist on where, I guess, Eldridge Palmer is going as a character. But yeah, so not too good for the people that they're capturing either, I guess. But yeah, interesting deceit going on there between Palmer and Eichhorst and obviously the Master. But that's been happening throughout the whole thing anyway. But it's just like another level of the deceit that's going on. And on to the next big scene, which was with Vasily Fett, and I guess before we move on to the new character, he was having, I guess, a bit of a chit-chat at the bar with some of the guys that he actually saved from the Master, so the Navy SEALs, and I guess we have confirmation that they're all packing up and they're leaving because Washington DC is under threat, so they're saying if Washington DC falls, the country falls. So the concentration of the military forces is going to be in DC. So New York is going to get left in an even worse state than it was before. But anyway, towards the end of that scene, we get to see a new character. I believe she'll be in a few from now on. It kind of makes sense to actually get to know their name and a bit of information about them as to they're a new character as opposed to just a random fling that Vasily Fett had. So the new character was Kate. And obviously there's a romantic tie in there with Vasily, and I think there's going to be a bit of a, when Dutch returns, there's going to be a bit of confrontation there, but we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, interesting character, pretty good acting from her, and hopefully she is around for more episodes, but we'll see. Hopefully it's not just a one-off, but hopefully she will come back. So the next point of interest for me was Ephraim. Obviously got the news last episode that they're saying we'll give you Zack if you get us the Lumen. So what he's done, he went round to visit Abraham Strachian and Vasily Fett, and gave them an update on Nora and Zack. And for me, I assumed this had already happened. But obviously not. My timeline was a little bit off. I think it might have taken a lot of people by surprise as well that he didn't let the information on. So we got confirmation of timing. So it's been a week since that has happened. So it's been a week where he's just been working and probably just drinking. My assumption is that their alcohol consumption has made him just not want to deal with it and tell anybody. So yeah, he's been burying it for that long. But obviously the real reason he is there is for the Lumen. And we had the interesting meeting of, I guess, Quinlan and Ephraim. And Quinlan immediately picked up that something was off. He obviously picked up the time that he'd been away, so a week's delay before returning, and then obviously he wants something. So he knew straight away that he's probably after the Lumen. But he just let the situation play out and seized the opportunity towards the end there. I'll go into that in a minute. But yeah, so poor old Sachakian and Fett are obviously pretty upset that Nora passed away, and obviously that the Zack was taken. Which was, actually, I was quite surprised at how upset they did appear, because a lot of people have died, and for the most part they just kind of shrug it off. I mean, at some point you probably would do that, but yeah, pretty upset. And obviously this is going to make it even worse, the whole betrayal, but let's get into that at the end, right? So the next interesting point that I had was one of the things that Satrakian raised from the Lumen. So it was a conversation between Ephraim and Strachian and Fett, kind of just going over some basic stuff in the Lumen. And it was quite interesting because they're saying they need to be, I guess the Master can be destroyed on the eclipse. And then they're like saying, well, we just had an eclipse. When's the next one? It's like, well, it's like five or 6 years away. And it was just this look of, oh man. I quite like that scene. It was quite funny. You just thought I'd add that. But they seem to be making progress on the Lumen. I mean, he's making, Strachian's making a lot of notes and, you know, learning a lot. But obviously they've not got the key yet. And it's going to be a while because, I mean, if they got the key right away, the whole thing would be pointless. So it's going to be a while before they actually get anything out of it. I think they're going to probably get more, I guess, abilities and powers out of the book, I would say. You know, maybe get some weapon ideas out of the book to help fight them. And the end point might be they'll figure out how to actually destroy the Master with the book. On to the next, next big scene was, I guess, the return of Dutch. So she, I guess, the same situation. She's been missing for probably about a week. Well, not missing, but she's not been involved with the other characters, so she's by herself. But she managed to join up with her hacker friends. So by the look of it, they're just raiding for food and trying to survive. But in saying that, they were having fun. Well, she wasn't, but they were. So already for me, if you come across a character that's happy to be in a situation like that, it means that inevitably they're going to die. And they did. So yeah, they raided the building, and we get to see most of them taken out pretty brutally. And then obviously one of them gets infected. They go back. They actually, they leave Dutch to die pretty much. So I mean, you know, I wouldn't call that obviously friendship. That was not a good move on their part. So she saw her as well. I guess that was probably the final thing, the realization of the situation she's in, and she obviously leaves the building after fighting her way out. And just breaks down. So I think that's a combination of, obviously, I guess the situation, the kind of hopeless world that they're in, the being left by your friends, and also the reminder of what Icorst did and tried to do to her as well. I think that's still playing in her mind. So she's on the verge of breakdown, I think, a lot, and I think she's going to be struggling with that through this whole season. And then next, it was just kind of she did end up catching up with the people that left her. And she obviously finished off the situation to resolve the infection with that guy. And he rightly deserved, I do say so myself. So next scene was Palmer and Icorst. So Eldritch Palmer is back. We didn't see him last episode either. So a very interesting situation. I guess you have the whole lab on one side, which is this thing that Palmer's working on. You have the whole point that Eldritch Palmer's putting on a brave face, because he's still obviously grieving Coco, because if you remember, the Master killed Coco, because they were kind of standing up to the Master and saying, no, this is how we're going to play it, we're in control of the situation, and the Master came along and killed Coco. And as, I guess, with the insult that gave to the Master, he's refusing to give Eldritch Palmer the white anymore. So, yeah, he's not in good health. And that's obviously why he's kind of putting pressure on the labs to get that white formula right so he can have it and then move away from the situation, I believe. But yeah, so Icorst got a report of what was happening with the health centers that they've stood up, and they're not good, so he wants more pressure on those. So we'll be interested to see how he's going to do that. Is Eldritch Palmer going to continue with the labs, or has he given up? I mean, is that why he approached Zack for the formula, because he's officially given up on the labs, or, you know, is he still going to go with it? Is the Master and Icorst going to find out about the labs? Are they going to approve? What's going to happen there? So that's going to be interesting. And also very interesting as well, the conversation between Zack and Vasily Fett in the car, saying, you know, they're pretty much saying, now we've got him because he needs us more than we need him. Well, we don't need him at all. You know, they've got the Lumen, they've got the formula, so they'll be able to play him and get something out of it. So that'll be interesting to see where they go with that. And I guess the next scene was Zack trying to escape. So finally, after 2 seasons, that character woke up to the situation he is in. But yeah, only took 2 seasons, so good job him. But I mean, I like that scene. I generally don't like that kid's acting. I guess it's better than the first child. But that scene wasn't too bad. I think it's more his way of communicating, his speaking, his actual, I guess, physical acting, how he acts in that situation is fine. It's more his conversations I don't like. So that wasn't a bad scene because he didn't really say much. But yeah, the whole scene with him escaping and then finding Mummy feeding on some other child his own age. Yeah, that was a pretty funny scene. Very predictable, but I did enjoy it nevertheless. And obviously he was having an asthma attack as well. So because she was, I guess, in feed mode, you know, like you could look at it like a shark, right? If they're in that mode of fight and feed, they're not going to think of anything else. And same happened to her. She was going to eat him, but luckily the master arrived and controlled her. You saw the red eyes there flare up, so he was in control, stopped her, and then he fed Zack the white so that his asthma would go away. So whether or not that has any influence over him now, I don't know. I don't think it does. I think Palmer seemed to be in control of himself when he was under the white, and the same as Satrakian. You know, he was under the white and he's in control of himself. But interesting to see him. You know, maybe because he's a child, he'll be more susceptible to the white, so he'll be able to control him. Who knows? Interesting to see how that pans out. But yeah, for now, good news. I guess his asthma is gone. So positive, thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. So the next strange, I guess, the finishing scene, which is the combination of Ephraim and Quinlan. Now that's a strange one. I think once again this is just riddled with deceit. So Ephraim goes to get the Lumen. Quinlan calls him out, says, "Look, you're taking it. Why don't we work together on this?" Now the thing is, what's strange about that is, why would Quinlan work with Ephraim? Quinlan could have taken the Lumen from Satrakian at any moment in time. Like Satrakian and Quinlan were working together on it in a room by themselves. Quinlan could have just destroyed Satrakian, taken a book and gone. So why is he waiting for Ephraim? I don't think there's a logical reason for that. I mean, it might just be the writing. They needed that to happen for the writing, and that for me is a bit of bad writing if that's the case. But I hope it's not. I hope, if anything, Quinlan is playing Ephraim, so he actually doesn't care about Ephraim, so maybe he's going to offer him up as a sacrifice, so call out the master, here you go, and off you go. In saying that, I guess, I don't know the situation that could have got the master out as easily as Ephraim could with the book, because it's all planned out. So the master knows the situation. So if Ephraim is bringing a book, he's going to come out. If Satrakian brought the book out, maybe he's going to go, okay, well, this is a trap. I won't do it. So maybe there's a bit of logic there, but for me, it's like, I don't know. I don't know why he would. Yeah, it's just, once again, more riddled with deceit, and I don't think it's going to end well. I think, if anything, they'll probably lose the Lumen to that situation. So if Ephraim and Quinlan go down to give the book to the master, I think they'll come away maybe with Zack, maybe not, but they're going to lose the Lumen, and I don't think, obviously, this point in the season 3, I don't think we're going to lose the master anytime soon. Maybe he'll injure him past the point, but I don't think so. I think he's going to, I think Quinlan, I guess, needs a wake-up call to see how strong the master is compared to him. Quinlan thinks he can take everyone out, whilst he's obviously awesome, but I don't think he's at the stage where the master is. So yeah, that was, I guess, a bit of an overview of what happened. I guess the only other things I'll mention is, it was a strange episode. Not a lot of action, but definitely advancing on stories. Continuation of, I guess, updates of characters. So we got the update on Dutch. But yeah, so there's a few things come from this. Obviously, there's the situation with Zack. Is he going to continue to try and escape? Now he's obviously aware how badly his mother is gone. And we have the book. Will Ephraim and Quinlan actually get any progress on taking the book and doing it themselves? And we have the fun thing, the whole Palmer and Eichhorst standoff. I don't think that's going to end well in the near future. I think there's going to be something happen there. Something has to change because Eldridge Palmer needs the white. So either he's going to get it from Eichhorst and the master, or he's going to get it from Satrakian. Either way, something has to change. But anyway, I'll finish this video here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a bit more information out of my thoughts on what was happening. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Put some comments below. Let me know if you enjoyed that episode. I don't think it was as good as the first episode, but it was okay. Just it wasn't as much action. It was more just building up to something. So maybe we're going to see something substantial in episode 3 or 4. So we'll see what happens with that. So yeah, give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, obviously thumbs down if you didn't, and subscribe for future videos from myself on the strain and other things coming up as well. And until next time, cheerio.